that was what was in the marketplace.
Right.
But I saw then, what if we could do better? What if we could offer a higher quality of service? I saw that our clients as black people were paying more for their hair. I mean, they were spending a lot of money in the salons, and they were not receiving the service that they deserved.
Gotcha.
So that's when I wanted to, change all that.
From a service standpoint, you wanted to create something different.
Totally.
Totally different.
Totally different.
Totally different. Okay. Now you talked about your accountant and being the manager of it. How did he walk you through all of the steps? I mean, was he the only person on the team at that point, financially and business wise?
Mostly in the beginning he was, and then I had a banker down the street. One of the bankers came down here to meet me. Now that was a first. Now, I know they said you needed a good rapport with your banker, but that was the first that I had when he came here, and that was wonderful because I had a payroll to meet, and it was going through Bank of America. He introduced me to their payroll specialist, and so that took all that stuff off of the accountant. Because the accountant naturally charged more to do that than through Bank of America. They had a service.
Gotcha.
So it was like it was steps. It wasn't overnight that it just all happened, but it took steps.
Gotcha. Okay.
There had to be a plan, and then we had to work the plan.
Implement the
plan.
plan.
And I had to do a lot of work, even when the accountant told me, like you have to set up systems, and so I had to physically set the systems up, and that was good. It was wonderful because I used the model from King Boulevard. It's where I had a few people, and then it was easier to translate it into a lot more people.
And the same systems you got were from
going to different
talking to different stylists.
And to different salons. And then one thing I did notice, no one guaranteed their work. So I said, well, I was doing as many people as I possibly could.
Right.
And the people were satisfied. And I said, well, what if I could take my talents and transfer it over into other people? Then, I would have something really going. Plus, everybody would be happy because everybody would be making a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
And basically, that's what happened. And they believed. They saw it happening, They knew that there was a difference in the hair cutting techniques. They knew it was a difference in taking care of the hair, and everybody was willing to follow the program because they wanted what you were doing, what we had.
Gotcha. How did the partnership develop?
Okay, on King Boulevard, one of the young ladies was working there in the salon, and we had a good personal relationship. And so, and everything that I was doing, she was like involved in it. So, then I said, I was thinking, well, let's just, we need to be partners. And this would, make it really, easier.
Gotcha.
Because it's always easier when you have someone else to bounce things off and someone that's working in your corner. Now, one of the things you had said on your questionnaire is about partners. I think most people don't look at a partner for the assets that they're bringing in, and we have higher or different expectations than what the person is really capable of doing. Plus, that person also have to know what you're capable of doing and where your limits are. Because, like everybody has limits, and, so, you just have to accept a person for who they are. And don't expect more than what that person can produce.
Gotcha. Do you feel from a partnership standpoint, do you feel partners are better in this particular industry? Is it better to have someone who is a part of and understands the business, or maybe just having a money partner who says, okay, I'm willing to put up X amount of dollars and maybe be the business, handle the business side of it?
Okay. I think it's better to be in the business.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is from my personal point of view.
Okay.
My best girlfriend was in the business. Barbara Marshall. She was out of Houston, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
We went to college. To beauty college together. And so, we were going to open up a salon, and I knew I felt like that would really work. I don't know if it would have or not, but it's all one thing that we had in common is we could talk to each other about different changes in the industry, and because a lot of times you have to tweak the business according to what's going on in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the things that I experienced or went through in the business is because there were industry changes that I didn't make adjustments for.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I think it's important that they're
Involved in the business side of it.
Right.
Okay. Your process of looking for talent when you first opened your business as opposed to now, the interview process, the cutting, what were you looking for in your young stylist when you made the move over here?
Okay. I didn't know how to interview. I had a client that taught me how to interview.
Okay.
And basically, I was just looking for somebody that was hungry, that was really wanting this as a career, more than just a step to make some money and, do something real quick and fast.
Gotcha.
I was looking for career-minded people, I think. And then that was the first interview, because we always would do a verbal interview, and then they would come back and do a practical.
Okay.
And so when we saw the practical, then you could kind of tell if they had natural talents, because I think natural talents or abilities to follow directions are good.
Gotcha.
So, if you see a person that can handle, like the way in which they handle hair, it tells you something about them, So, like at that time, we had everybody to pick from. It wasn't like it was slim pickings,
True.
So it was really good. That was good.
Have you had someone, or what would you have done with the person that is hungry? You can see they're hungry. They're into verbal interview. You can see their drive. They came in and their cutting skills or their skills weren't necessarily up to par, but they were willing to learn. Did you find yourself stepping out with a lot of those kind of stylists? Sometimes, because you know what, people that have really good communication skills will always surpass the people who like me. Superior cutters.
Right. No, not like me. I don't do a lot of talking. I don't communicate that well, but I can perform well. But when I see somebody that like who has that talent or whatever, if they're willing, if their mouth, if their spirit lines up with their mouth, you could teach them anything.
Sure. Okay.
You can teach them anything.
That's true. That is true. That is true. Commission. You had Booth Rent, the other salon. You went to commission. Was that just a matter of talking to folks and realizing that control was more of an issue from a commission standpoint?
Now I hope I don't step on it.
Oh.
It's going to be a lot of toes stepped on. It's going to be even my own.
Okay.
Booth rental is nothing more than a kind of a swap meet environment. Everybody is walking in. You have you rent your station, and you do your thing. It's you don't create a team environment. There's a disconnect with Booth rental,
right.
And I've always felt that. Most stylists are not able to really they don't, I'm trying to think of the proper, they're not disciplined enough to run their own business.
True.
They're not disciplined. And so when you're not disciplined to run your own business, basically you are more successful when you go to work for someone else who give you the parameters to work within, and you work.
Right.
You'll do a lot better.
Very good. I feel the exact same way. That's one of the reasons why I asked the question.
Yeah, it is. I mean, because, on a serious note, working together, and I know everybody, when they think in terms of commission,
Mm-hmm.
they think, the owner is taking all their money. No, the owner isn't taking all their money. The owner is showing them how their money should be spent.
Sure.
They provide, like we had health insurance, we had paid vacations, we had advertisement, not every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
We had advertisement every single week, and advertisement pays.
Right.
If you don't put any advertisement out there, you can't expect. This place was like busting at the seams.
Oh, yeah.
6,000 square feet, and it was busting at the seams. But that was advertisement, But it wasn't just advertisement coming out of the owner's pocket. It was a pinch of money from everybody. Everybody put a little bit together. You can do great things.
Mm.
You by yourself, trying to do it by yourself, you can't do it. You don't have the resources to do that. So,
Gotcha.
mhm.
Knowing what you know now, would you have done anything differently? Would you have stepped from behind the chair sooner?
Yeah, that most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. The fear that I had from coming from behind the chair was, well, I've never been a manager before. What am I going to do? And productivity to me was actually physically turning out clients.
Mm-hmm.
And I was used to turning out 20 clients was a slow day.
I remember.
20 clients was a slow day. And, that, to walk away from that was really saying a lot, But all I had to do, I had moved from doing 20 clients a day. I had a team now.
Yeah.
So I needed to have been walking behind everybody and telling them, rah, 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 you're doing good,
Mm-hmm.
rah, 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 this is good, and finding all the wonderful things that they did, and keep them going.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. One of the things, and this is just my thought, that I don't see, and maybe you've seen it in your travels, is the extension of the ownership moving in other directions. I know a lot of your, I've worked with one of your guys.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of your people went to their own salons.
Mm-hmm.
Was the thought ever to try to recreate what you had done in other places?
Mm-hmm.
And why do you think that doesn't tend to work? That to sit down and talk with another stylist about, let's do something together in another spot. Why do you think that doesn't seem to work in this industry?
Okay. We did open up the second salon.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing was
In the back.
the whole plan was to open up this place, train, take your top earners,
Mm-hmm.
put one, we were going to go in the valley, then we were going to go to the Inland Empire,
Mm-hmm.
in different spots. And opening a new place is it's a matter of time.
Yeah.
And when we opened out in the Valley Salon, the stylist who was my partner at the time
Mm-hmm.
was over that salon, and she was given the same salary that I was on here,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't feel like that was enough. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying sometimes like it's a matter of you got to talk and
Right.
try to be on the same page and see where you're going together.
Mhm.
But a lot of times it's just when people see dollar signs and they can make mega bucks or whatever.
Mhm.
So she actually started working somewhere else. Now she's running this salon. Start working somewhere else in another place.
Mhm.
And that was major conflict.
Yeah.
Major conflict for the salon. So, I mean, now how do you get people to, I mean, I think it's like, was there a drop in communication? You know, what happened?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and it's hard to tell what happens sometimes and why people think what they think.
Right, right.
Yeah, it is hard to do that. You've had a lot of folks that have left here and opened up their own salons. Have you found, when you got ready to open up your spot, you mentioned that you went out and talked to a lot of different people about how to get it done, and from that derived what you wanted to do.
Right.
Did you have that same interaction with the people who left you, or did you notice that they just, all of a sudden, they just sneak out the door and think they can do it themselves?
They did. They did. And, you know, and that was really, it was hurting. I took it personally, you know, and I shouldn't have taken it personally. I should have gone to them and talked to them about it, and, you know, tried to find out what was really going on, because everybody, when they're here, they seem like they're happy.
Right.
I know that they're pleased with the monies that they're making, but I think that everyone thinks in terms of, well, if I'm making this much, then I can make twice that much, because then I'm not paying any commission on it. But they didn't realize, together with everybody's money together, you had what we had going here.
Right.
And it looks like that's easy, but it's not easy, because that was a ton of money going out, you know. It was a ton of money going out. So, but they learned. And I knew that they would learn, you know. And some of them were very successful. And I think they were successful because they had a good mentor.
Oh, definitely.
And they took what they learned here and they mimicked it.
Gotcha.
So, you know, like when you have a good pattern, you know, like you can make the pattern over and over again. You can duplicate it. But it wasn't a lot of people that duplicated it.
No, yeah. You know,
but those that did, they're still grateful today.
Yeah. And that's one of the interesting things that I know. I mean, having worked with someone who was one of your mentees, you know, just if you would have asked more questions and got more information about how to do it, then maybe what happened wouldn't have happened.
Exactly.
You know, and you would have been able to structure it a little better if you'd have just asked more questions. One of the things I find is that most of the stylists just don't tend to, there's not a networking of minds now that used to exist, you know, years ago.
Exactly.
When you first started, when my dad had his salon, where you could go and talk to the other business
people,
owner, and they would tell you, man, don't do this, don't do this. This is who you need to talk to. You know, put you in front of the right people to make sure you were successful. Now everyone seems to be a lot more closed-mouthed about what they're doing. Like their success is only for them, and it can't grow to anyone else. I mean, that's one of the things that seems to really.
And you're dead.
Yeah, you know, I don't understand what that frame of mind is.
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't understand what that.
And you know, you
is.
had said something about financial teams. Well, had it not been for me having mutual funds and, you know, retirement funds and all that stuff, I wouldn't be in business today. And that's because stuff happens. And you have to be prepared for the unexpected.
That's true.
So that's, you know, that helps.
Yeah, no, and you know, I do a lot of financial work, and I talk to them about being prepared. I talk to them about, you know, how much money would you have if you did nothing else but save your tips, that kind of stuff. You know, putting away money for the future. You know, and a lot of them just live today based on what they're going to make today, thinking, well, if I made $300 on Thursday, I'm going to make $500 on Saturday, so I don't have to save any money, and that's not the case. You know, you've got to have a plan about working your money out.
Not at all. And you got to see that tomorrow's going to get here real quick. Quicker than you could. You said financially stable. Oh my God. You have no idea how fast.
That's true.
You know what? And when I first